For the love of... Where the hell have you two been?
On a date, kind of.
What?
It is true, I got invited by Square Enix to go to London to play over 4 hours of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is my thoughts and impressions of that gameplay experience, though I do have a video going up at the exact same time of this one, diving in deeper to all of the gameplay elements introduced to Rebirth, because truly we have not seen much of it. It's been a lot of story speculation and a few glimpses of combat, so please tune into that video after this one, because we're going to be diving in deep to the gameplay of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But this one is about my experience, and quite an experience I had. So, with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, got you covered with timestamps down below. If there's a certain section you want to skip to, feel free, though I hope you do watch the video in its entirety because it's pretty damn epic. It's down there anyway for you to kind of go wherever you want. All I ask is for you to support the channel and hit the thumbs up button. Let's start off with what I actually got to play. We got to play the first 2 chapters of the game. So chapter 1 being the Nibelheim flashback in its entirety, and chapter 2 which covers Kalm and the Grasslands all the way up to the Midgardsormr fight. So there is quite a chunky amount here, and I got to really dive in to a lot of it. So let's start off with the Nibelheim flashback, and I'm going to try my best to avoid spoilers, but if I end up slipping up somewhere, I will make sure to mark it with a timestamp so you can just skip over it. So the Nibelheim flashback, in a nutshell, I personally think this is the best telling of the Nibelheim flashback, because the way they flush out Cloud, the way that Sephiroth's character changes throughout this flashback is really intense. The stakes are higher. You get to know more characters in Nibelheim this time around, because you have a chance to go around like you do in the OG, go play the piano, go talk to Xander and learn more about him and the town. Just listening to the NPC dialogue, with them being in awe that soldiers come to visit Nibelheim. It is pretty expansive, and again, probably the best telling of the Nibelheim flashback. Also, fans of Crisis Core, or if you've played Crisis Core, there are little nuggets here and there to kind of make you see and you know that this telling might not be as authentic as it is let out to be by Cloud. And again, really incredible. I want to touch on the opening of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I ain't going to spoil it. I'm just going to say I wasn't expecting the way that they approached it, though I really liked it, and it kind of set the scene for the game. So that was the Nibelheim flashback. Let's talk about the Grasslands and Kalm. So we get thrown straight into Kalm, and we have the chance to explore it before shenanigans happen. And this is probably where one of my first and only complaints about Rebirth comes up, because we're going to have returning players from Remake that may have forgot about certain gameplay systems, and there's new gameplay systems, and then we have new players that are going to be playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as their first. So we are thrown at a lot of tutorials, a lot of boxes coming out from the right hand side saying this, and this, and that carries on to combat to each individual character for then abilities that unlock. Can be quite overwhelming, and at the same time I can see why they've done it, but they introduce so much in such a small amount of time, you may just want to skip over it and forget about it. I wish there was an option that maybe asks you if you are familiar with the combat of Rebirth or Remake and you just want to hear about the new things. That would be nice, but that was my only complaint, and I don't think it's a big one. I just can see the conversation being, once the game is out, that, oh man, a lot of tutorials here. So that's the only one, but we got to explore Kalm before shenanigans happen. So essentially we go out of the inn and we are free to do what we want. We can go to a shop, buy a new weapon. We can go to Magharta Books, which is to do with folios, which is essentially your way to get synergy attacks and bonus statistics to certain stances. Like, for instance, there's an increase of a certain percentage to punish your stance if you block, and then you can learn ability with Aerith, which imbues your sword with fire, all things like that. And it's really exciting to dive into, but we're going to dive into more when we talk about the gameplay in the other video, which is live now as well, by the way. So, exploration, Kalm, the music, the music. I had to take a moment to switch off all the sound effects and the player voices and just kind of take it in just for a little bit. And it really kind of took me back, but at the same time made me very excited to see what I was getting into. So we can get to know the characters a little bit more because they get to hang out at various points of Kalm. So you can go to Red 13, talk to him. You have a dialogue option and you can pick like a really nasty one, a funny one, or a really nice one. And I'm assuming that this is going to gather points to potentially what could be the gold saucer scene later in the game. We go over to Tifa. She looks at the center of Kalm and she says, does this remind you of anything? And you can pick that it looks like the Nibelheim well and talk about that and reminisce, or you can pick something nasty and ignore her. And these characters are marked with like certain like facial expressions to see what their mood is towards Cloud, whether it's been a story beat, which is nice, or whether you've said something in just some passing dialogue that may affect them here or there. Shenanigans then happen in Kalm and we have to get out of Kalm. And we then have that infamous scene that we've seen opening up to the Grasslands. Oh my, just playing this again, even though I've seen it in trailers, but witnessing it, holding the controller, listening to the music, I was absolutely taken by this scene and just ready to know that I have this whole world to explore to my own pace. I could dart straight to the story location, or I could go to that well over there. And I go to the well over there and a thing pops up saying that I've discovered a location. It's an abandoned water well and that there are treasure chests hidden here, and it adds to my map completion. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'm gonna explore these chests and take in the scene, maybe snap a photo, and photo mode returns. I think it's more or less the same, but you get to choose frames now. But nonetheless, took a photo, and then I went to the next location. I could see in the distance, I could see a shack, and it was telling me that it was a shop, but there was no one there at the moment, so I assume that I can go back there later. I go a little bit further, and I can see in the distance, I can see a body of water, but there's a very suspicious island there, and I'm thinking, wonder if I can swim to that. I go all the way down to the water, I swim, I get all these materials for item transmutation, and then there is a materia as well. I pick it up and it's a defense related materia to kind of improve defense in combat. And combat, let's just dive straight into that, shall we, while we're on the subject here. Combat is just remake, but so much better, so much more fluent, so much more action-packed. Cloud has like a gap closer, so if you are too far away from the enemy, there's a nice little blade beam thing, and then you can close in the gap and do your combos, and if they're in the air, he will jump, and then you can start doing the combat in the air, much less what we got from episode intermission, but even better than that. And I was just so in awe. I went to test out Red 13. He is incredible to play as. I went to play Aerith's new abilities, or the way that they've been reshuffled, and it was really good to play. I didn't really dive into Barrett and Tifa just as much. My team was Aerith and Red, but nonetheless, I was very impressed with combat, and I just wanted to explore, even though I knew that I needed to try and get through as much as I can to kind of give you guys the full experience. I just wanted to explore. I went over to another abandoned farm with more treasure chests to find to add to my map completion. I seen these mysterious crystals, which then turn out to be life springs that you get to introduce later. And there was a few things that I couldn't really access yet because I needed to find good old Chadley to introduce the whole world intel system. So yeah, I was absolutely in awe of the Grasslands, and it is just like the perfect introduction of what you can expect from Rebirth. You went from Midgar, the kind of enclosed linear fashion, to this open world to do whatever you want, whenever you want. But I progressed with the story, and I did the whole chocobo farm thing that we've seen in clips prior to this event, and I caught Pico, and then I got to have Pico, and now I have a chocobo. And then I seen Chadley. He gave me the Chad module. He kind of opened up all of these other things. So again, life springs, which essentially are locations with knowledge of the planet, and you get synopsises of areas of the Grasslands. So for example, the one I found told me all about Kalm, and I'm not talking it was just 2 lines. This was like a paragraph and a half telling me all about the history of Kalm. So this is going to be incredible for those that want to know more about the world. They they are offering that. And to find these life springs, you have this bird that kind of remind me of Ghost of Tsushima. Flows in and kind of you follow it and it leads you to the life spring, and then the music plays as well. Oh, there's so much. And I'll be going into deeper again in my gameplay video. We had the proto relics, and I'm going to low-key say I was right about proto relics. I'll leave it there, but that is a quest line in itself that is related to the Grasslands, and I assume that each region of the world will have its own kind of story. Like this one is concentrated on Beck and the goons. I assume that the Junon one will be a little bit different, but the end goal of all of them are the same thing, and I really can't wait to dive into that. Of course, we have the towers to explore that will open more of the world. We have the Mog House. There is just so much crammed, and I was just like, I just could spend hours upon hours in the Grasslands alone. And that's what I did. I did a little bit of chocobo scenting and a little bit of digging, see if I could find anything nice. I found some materials that I can use for weapons. And then I went on foot to see some combat assignments and add more to the world intel system. Rebirth is absolutely killing it, and I can really stand by the fact that they say there is 100 hours worth of content, because there was so much here in the Grasslands alone, and I didn't get a chance to do even a fraction of it, and I've told you a lot about it. I want to take a moment just to shout out the music. Like I said previously, I had to turn down the sound effects, turn down the voices, and just embrace that world map theme, transitioning into that world map battle theme, and it was truly incredible. I'm really excited, guys. I don't know if that's coming across, but I had a thoroughly good time, and I'm forever grateful that I got to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think I've touched on everything that I want to talk about, and I'm hoping that my positivity comes across. But again, there are a couple of flaws in the way it presents its tutorials. Maybe it's because I've just played Remake and I'm like, yes, I know how to play the combat. No, I don't want to know how a shop works or something along those lines. And maybe I just wanted to play what I wanted to play and not read these tutorials. I don't know what mood I was in. I was just excited. And there was a section in the Nibelheim flashback where you are walking very, very slow, and I just wanted to get to the next section. I know what they're trying to do with that, but again, it's just one of those things that I'm like, is it necessary? But apart from that, Rebirth is looking absolutely incredible. Are you excited? Let me know down below. Remember, check out that gameplay video. There is a link down below in the description, and we're going to be diving into deeper things like Queen's Blood, the Life Springs, Proto Relics, all of the gameplay elements that we've just not had chance to see yet, and it's going to be a very good time. I appreciate you watching the video. Please subscribe if you want more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth content. Hit that notification bell so you're notified of that content. Hit the thumbs up button. Get involved in the comment section down below, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.